Everyone laughed, but no one saw the pain behind her eyes. In the middle of the glittering ballroom, surrounded by chandeliers and golden music, a young girl sat silently in her wheelchair, her dress shining but her spirit dim. The world treated her as though she was fragile, broken, incomplete. They whispered, they smirked, and some even pitied her with words that cut sharper than knives. But what no one expected was that the smallest voice in the room, the daughter of a janitor, would change everything that night, and crown her in a way no crown of gold ever could. The girl's name was Isabella. Born into wealth, she should have lived a life of privilege and joy. But a car accident when she was 9 left her unable to walk. Her father, a proud businessman, loved her deeply but often felt powerless, burying himself in work while his daughter sat in the corners of banquets and parties, where people saw only the wheelchair, not the person. Her mother, elegant and always maintaining appearances, insisted Isabella attend every high-class gathering, but to Isabella it felt like punishment. She was paraded like an ornament, silent, ignored, and laughed at. At one such grand evening event, the room sparkled with gowns and suits. People danced, glasses clinked, violins played, and Isabella was once again parked to the side, like a vase in the corner. Her eyes wandered, watching people twirl and laugh. She wanted to join, but no one ever asked her to dance, no one knelt to talk to her as an equal. They saw the chair, not the heart. And then, as so often happened, a group of wealthy children giggled nearby, pointing and whispering cruel words. One boy said loudly, "Look, the princess without a kingdom." Another added, "A queen needs legs, doesn't she?" Their laughter rippled, echoing through her soul. Isabella clenched her hands on the sides of her chair, fighting the tears. She had learned long ago that crying only made the whispers louder. She swallowed her pain in silence. But what she didn't notice was a pair of small eyes watching closely from across the room, the janitor's daughter, Lily. Lily was 10, the same age as Isabella, though her life could not have been more different. Her father cleaned the grand halls, polishing floors that others dirtied without thought. She wore a simple cotton dress, her shoes scuffed and worn. She was never invited to join the parties, only to sit quietly in the shadows while her father worked. But Lily's heart was wide, her eyes curious, and her spirit brave. She noticed everything others ignored. And tonight, she saw Isabella's pain as clear as if it were her own. When the laughter grew louder, Lily felt anger stir inside her small chest. She looked at the wealthy children, then at Isabella, who sat frozen in silence, her face pale. Something inside Lily whispered, "This isn't right. She needs someone." Without thinking, Lily stepped forward. The crowd barely noticed the little girl at first. But as she walked through the sea of gowns and tuxedos, whispers began to rise. "Who's that? The janitor's child. What is she doing here?" She didn't care. She went straight to Isabella, knelt before her wheelchair, and took her hand. Isabella blinked, startled. No one ever touched her hands like that, so gently, without pity. Then Lily did something unthinkable. She stood tall, turned toward the crowd, and raised her voice. "Stop laughing at her. You don't see what I see." The ballroom fell silent. Gasps echoed. People froze, shocked that a child dared interrupt the glittering night. But Lily's eyes burned with fire. She held Isabella's hand tighter and declared, "She's not broken. She's not weak. She's a queen, my queen." The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. And then, as if magic swept the room, everything changed. The cruel children lowered their heads in shame. Adults shifted uncomfortably, realizing how blind they had been. Isabella's mother covered her mouth, tears springing to her eyes. Even her father, normally stern, felt his chest tighten with something he hadn't felt in years, hope. But most of all, Isabella felt it. Those words, "She's a queen," they unlocked something inside her that had been locked away ever since the accident. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like a burden or a shadow. She felt seen. Her lips trembled, and a tear rolled down her cheek, but this time it wasn't from pain. It was from being crowned, not with jewels, but with dignity. Slowly, the crowd began to applaud. At first hesitant, then louder, until the ballroom roared with claps and cheers. People stood. The music swelled, but none of it mattered to Isabella. What mattered was the little girl beside her, holding her hand as if it were the most natural thing in the world. From that night forward, Isabella's life changed. No longer did she hide in the corners. Her father, realizing the truth in Lily's words, devoted more time to her dreams instead of his business. Her mother stopped treating her as a fragile ornament and started treating her as a voice worth hearing. And Isabella herself began to believe she could be more than the chair she sat in. She started painting, speaking, inspiring others who felt unseen. As for Lily, she became Isabella's truest friend. The daughter of a janitor and the daughter of wealth, bound by a single moment of courage. Wherever Isabella went, she carried those words in her heart: she's a queen. And so, dear viewer, remember this: sometimes the smallest voice in the room carries the greatest power. True crowns are not made of gold or jewels, but of courage, kindness, and the ability to see what no one else dares to see. Isabella was mocked in silence, but one child's truth lifted her higher than any throne ever could. And if you carry that same courage in your heart, maybe one day, you too will crown someone with the dignity they've forgotten they had.